So guys, I was learning Unity for some time and I made this game. Let's open the game. It's not a game, it was just a practice project. Okay, the other one, or this one, this was my 2D project. This one is 3D project. This is basically 2D only, but it's 3D, but has to be played in 2 dimension. Okay, so this was the project and there was some scripts written here. I had set VS Code to open these scripts, and these have some other scripts as well for coins to get collected. So let us play the game and I will show you how it works. Okay, let me zoom in. Yeah, so this capsule is basically our player, and I have turned off the rotation of this player, otherwise it will get fall because of physics, right? And this capsule is now getting fallen, so we don't want it. I just restarted the game. And okay, so our player can jump once, and I have coded that the player should only jump once and not in the mid-air. See, if even if I press center until the player is about 2 units from the ground, it won't register to jump. So the player can jump only once. And how I did this was I created a small sphere here and uh, write some code that when that small sphere in the bottom touches the ground, I made ground a different layer, and this sphere when touches the ground layer, and the distance between the ground layer and the small sphere is about 2 units, which is very minimal, so it will then start registering jump, otherwise it will ignore the space. And my player can jump, go to different place, and this lighting I have set it in this angle and the main camera. So these spheres are some power ups, you can say. And if I collect this will get destroyed, and the script of this destroy code I wrote in different file. Now my player can jump twice because it have the ability to jump twice. So one jump, then two jump, and now it will jump only once. Similarly, this also works because this is just the same, it's following also the same code, just a copy of that sphere. And if I double press, so I can jump twice. And if I restart the game, so in this game I didn't edit the counter, I mean the counter of collected sphere. It was just a boolean value that has a sphere collected, and it changes double jump to true. If the double jump is true, we can jump twice in the air. But now you can see I can jump only once, even if I collected 2 times the power up. So yeah, this was the small code, and clicking on here I can see the code as well. This was the code that when the game starts, the rigid body, which is already a Unity component, we will store it, otherwise we will be calling it again and again. After that, update means every frame when updated, when a new frame is set to the screen, then this code runs. If it is like 60 fps, so the code runs 60. So this function runs 60 times, and the calculation I have done in the fixed update, because if someone is playing on their grandma's computer, and their calculation, I mean their frames are very less, like 3 fps, 10 fps, So the player movement will very much feel like a slideshow, right? So the uh, m- calculation should be consistent. So the fixed update means it is not affected by the FPS. It is the calculation which is consistent. So this is not affected by FPS. This is for consistent calculation, and is grounded is the variable, and check pair is the function which checks basically that the pair is on the ground. Uh, it checks if the layer which it is touching is the ground. So you can just click on any cube and make the layer as ground, like here. And after that, when the player I attached a ground check, and the uh, ground check is basically very small, and it's in the bottom of the sphere, which basically tries to figure out that what we are touching is the ground or not, or anything else. So if it's enemy or some power up, it will ignore it, but when it's ground, then it will register it. So in player, when I click on player, in ground check, I just dragged and put it here. So this is the place basically where we will check that our player touches the ground. I mean, if I click on this, go to scene, uh, if I do zoom into our player, E to move up, right click uh, to basically move around the screen. And now if I click on ground check, so you can see uh, that I have set it in bottom of my player. So when my player touches the ground, it basically, yeah. And I told it to be a rigid body because I don't want it to get deformed. Now I freeze the rotation, otherwise it will fall like this. If I show you, uh, wait. Oh, actually I didn't in player mode, so that's why. That's why the changes are not affected. So this is something which you need to keep in mind, that see, even if I uncheck these things, still uh, those gets checked. This was because I was in play mode, and see this. Now this is in the editor mode. So if I uncheck, so the changes will be permanent now. And now my player should fall, hopefully. See. And why my camera angle has become like this, because I have made the main camera child of the player, and this is why the camera is following the player. Okay. Then anything, yeah, I made the player tag, so we basically know that whenever a power up gets touched, so it should be touched by the player. I mean, if it's touched by the enemy, then ignore it. Then yeah. And some code for the double jump power up. I wrote that compare if uh, it's get triggered. If my double jump gets triggered, then check if it was the player. So this is the player controller script which I just showed you. This whole script. when we were jumping, we were checking that is the player grounded. If it was grounded, then add the force to the rigid body, means to our capsule, to our player, that to jump. And if uh, can double jump, means if it was already in the air, if it was not grounded, then in that case this line is just for to not nullify the jump effect. I mean, it is falling down, and then I put a force, so it will just make it stay in the air or very slight jump. So first I will make the velocity 0, and after that I will add the force of jumping to it, so I get the double jump, and then make the double jump fall. So that's what I have done here. When the player, when the power up gets triggered, in that case destroy the power up, and the player can double jump. Yeah. So this was a very small game, kind of. It was not a game actually, but just my practice project. I was finding it interesting. Okay, so I also made the things frictionless and physics material. If I click on any cube, you can see that in physics properties, means in box collider, the material have physics properties. So I dragged it and put it here. So frictionless basically means that the friction, that static dynamic is 0 and there is no bounciness. Otherwise, what would have happened, that the player will get stick. Let me show you. Okay. Oh, I forgot to change this ground check. Oh, sorry, not ground check, player. Then X, Y, Z. I just want to freeze the rotation, otherwise, just now you saw that my player will fall. Okay. Okay. Now let's restart the game. Okay. So you remember I made the friction, means I added some value. So see, now it gets stick, double jump, because I collected the power arm, and now again it will get stick. So that's why I made the surfaces frictionless. And